So, the end of the round of 16 is coming up this weekend in the NASCAR Cup Series. Obviously, NASCAR heading over to Bristol, Tennessee for the final of 3 races within the round of 16. So, ahead of that, I just wanted to give an update on the playoffs and say who is definitely into the round of 12 and who is potentially going to go out, and just how this all kind of works, because the NASCAR playoff system, unfortunately, is a very complicated animal indeed. So, when it comes to the playoffs, or at least this part of the playoffs anyway, in the round of 16 there are 3 races. We've obviously had 2 of these already, both Atlanta and the one at Watkins Glen as well. Bristol, Tennessee is the last of these 3. In the round of 12, it's another 3 races after that. So we've got Kansas City, Talladega, and as well Charlotte, making up the whole of those 3 races within the round of 12, and then it goes to 8. But we're skipping ahead a bit there. So who is into the round of 12 as things stand? Because basically, at the end of this playoff round, the bottom 4 drivers in the playoffs, so 13th through to 16th, will be eliminated from the playoffs. Currently, as things stand, that is Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex Jr., and Harrison Burton. Now, in terms of the drivers that are through, there is only one that is 100% confirmed to be going through to the round of 12, and that is Joey Logano, because he won the Atlanta race. The whole win and you're in kind of system within NASCAR also applies to the playoffs themselves, not just getting to the playoffs, but when you're in the playoffs as well. So Joey Logano could crash out after lap 1. He doesn't even have to enter the Bristol, Tennessee race if he doesn't want to. He will still make it through to the round of 12 no matter what. Then you have to look at the points themselves. So through a NASCAR weekend, if you win the race, you get 40 points. For each stage victory you get, stage 1 and stage 2, you can get 10 points. And I believe on top of that as well, if you win the race within the playoffs, you get a bonus 5 points on top of that as well. So the maximum amount of points you can get from a NASCAR Cup Series weekend in this part of the playoffs anyway is 65 points. Currently, as things stand, 13th place in the standings is Denny Hamlin. He is on 2,043 points. Christopher Bell, who is top, is on 2,089 points, just 46 points ahead. So with that in mind, none of the drivers other than Logano, because of his win, are theoretically through. Everybody else is at risk. So it's very, very interesting how, in theory, only one guy is through. Now, you might be thinking, what about Watkins Glen? Who won that? Well, that was Chris Buescher, and he's outside the playoffs. So his winning you're in thing does not apply to him because he's won in the playoffs when he's not a playoff driver, so it doesn't count. So yeah, basically, Logano is the only driver through to the round of 12 as things stand. Any of the other guys, if they don't perform this weekend in Bristol, they could be out in theory. As things stand, like I said, it's Hamlin, Keselowski, Truex, and Burton who are going out. But Ty Gibbs, Briscoe, Byron, even Kyle Larson, they're not that far outside of the playoffs. Into the actual next round. So we'll have to see how things go. I mean, for me, if you're within 20 points of Hamlin, you're in big danger of going out if you don't perform. So really, that's the likes of Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, William Byron, and maybe going up to Larson and Blaney as well. But it's very, very tight. So, and of course, all these points matter for later on in the playoffs too, because we whittle these down 3 races at a time. So after 3 more races after Bristol, it'll become the round of 8, and then after that, you're into the final round at Phoenix, where there's just the fast 4, the final 4 in the championship. But when we get to that, when we get close to that, we'll explain that. But as things stand, guys, basically everybody has a chance of being eliminated from the playoffs except for Logano. He's the only one guaranteed to get through. So yeah, there we go, guys. That's the kind of rundown of what's happening with the playoffs at the moment in NASCAR. Who is going to win this weekend's Bristol, Tennessee race? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And for much more NASCAR content, keep it tuned to the NASCARchronicle.com.